So, Jeffrey, good afternoon.
Hi Terence, how are you?
I'm great, and you?
Excellent, thank you.
I just had a wonderful lunch in the place, and being a Brit, I had fish and chips, and I have to say it's one of the best I've had for a long time, so great.
Thanks
We didn't have to rush it, but it was great. It was great. So let me start off to everyone by introducing you, Jeffrey Van Vorsselen. Jeffrey is the general manager of the Langham Place Hotel Mongkok, often referred to as Asia's most technologically advanced hotel. Actually, I should correct that statement, and I preempted a little bit in my opening, and say that Jeffrey is in fact checking out of the hotel very soon after arriving more than 5 years ago. He's heading back home to New Zealand. You didn't bring a flag to take up position of managing director at the Langham Auckland. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, James.
Jeffrey, you joined the hotel during the pre-opening stage, and I guess about 12 months before we finally opened, and one of the remaining senior management, if you like, during those very interesting times. You've seen a lot of changes since then, and of course since the hotel's opened. Maybe you can tell us a few things, what you have seen change, not necessarily in the hotel, but generally in Hong Kong and those areas.
Thanks, Terence, and thanks for the introduction. I arrived in 2003, end of June, and Hong Kong was basically just recovering from SARS. So I guess really one of the most dramatic changes I've seen is the fact that Hong Kong really was in the doldrums back then. Hotel occupancies were single digit if you were lucky. People didn't go out and eat in restaurants, and really people were, it was almost like a siege mentality here in Hong Kong. But really I think Hong Kong shows really what a resilient, dynamic place it is and how quickly it bounced back, and really in a very short period of time the whole of the community had really pushed past that, and the visitors started coming back. Business was good, and you know, and the indicators of life in Hong Kong, like the Hang Seng, really pushed on over the next couple of years to record heights, and you know, Hong Kong's really put that behind it and gone from strength to strength. But when I first arrived here, it was certainly different to the Hong Kong that I'd experienced when I travelled here during the 90s.
Great, okay. So during the pre-opening phase, and especially after the first article appeared in the South China Morning Post, about 6 months pre-opening, I think that was, we saw some publicity already taking place, and it was called, it was entitled "Hotel Has a High-Tech Heart," which was wonderful. There's been a lot of controversy and chatter about the rationale of opening a hotel, especially of this class, in this particular location, Mongkok. And now, what do you have to say to those people who were making those comments at that time?
Well, actually, the comments were pretty direct back then. I remember when I first arrived here, people would just come out and say that we must be crazy to build a hotel in Mongkok, and that it won't be really 5-star. And I think from that we realised that in the minds of people in Hong Kong, our location was an issue, and so we set about coming up with a strategy as to how we were going to deal with that. And really it centred around creating a vision for the hotel that was very extrovert and embraced the community, as opposed to trying to hide from it. I think the big temptation would have been to try and push Mongkok away. Instead, we actually did completely the opposite. We incorporated Mongkok into the name. Our vision is very, very outward thinking. The vision of the hotel is to change the face of Mongkok. And we believe that if we change the way people perceive Mongkok, that the business for the hotel will do extremely well as a result of that. So we've focused very much on repositioning Mongkok. I think you can't build a $13 million complex like this, $30 billion complex in downtown Mongkok without changing. So certainly physically it's changed significantly. But I think what's happened is that because we have focused on quality, we have focused on technology, and what we refer to as stimulating hospitality, we have been able to show the world that this is a truly international 5-star hotel, and that being in Mongkok is actually an advantage, not a disadvantage. So I think here we are 4 years later, and I think we've really put Mongkok on the map. And you know, Langham Place now is an international brand with many hotels around the world to open over the next few years.
And for those people that are watching on video, they can see Mongkok in the background on one of these wonderfully clear days.
That's right. And I guess, you know, this is very much part of the hotel culture, in that we really try and embrace this community. It's real Hong Kong. I mean, Mongkok means busy corner, and it's a very, very busy transportation hub for Hong Kong, and but it's real Hong Kong. So, you know, here we are in the boardroom of our offices, really looking out on this very old part of Hong Kong. But you can see people going about their real lives here, and there's an energy and the sights and sounds of Mongkok very unique in Hong Kong.
I think we should also add to the fact that days like this are not really rare, and it's not as a residual effect of the Olympics. So it is a real picture. It's not a fake picture that we photoshopped in the background right now. So,
in fact, just to show the authenticity, you can see there's this big banner here, which was torn last Friday when we had a typhoon rage through here. So it is real.
It's a real life scene. Great. Okay, so when the hotel opened, which was on its own auspicious date, and I did some research, it was the 4th of August 2004.
Correct.
And I don't think we knew at that time that the Olympics was going to be on the 8th of August 2008.
You're right.
But the 4th of August 2004, I think also the Chinese calendar is some sort of auspicious date, because it all adds up to 8s and things like this.
Correct.
It became the first hotel with the new branding Langham Place. We kind of gave birth at that time to it. There was the Langham Hotel, the Langham Hotels, but not Langham Place. And as you rightly said, several more are to follow. What is there about Langham Place that makes it so unique, allowing it to stand out amongst its competitive set, if you like, and as a brand? And where are those new hotels going to be?
Thanks, Terence. Look, I think when we opened this hotel, we actually opened it trying to be a Langham. And for those of you that are familiar with the brand, it's a very traditional, very elegant. It's really about being a haven, which is very difficult for this place, because really the design of it is very contemporary, very modern, and it's actually being designed so that it really brings the community into the hotel. However, when we did open it, we realised that, you know, once again, getting back to this change the face of Mongkok, that we had to be different, and we set about creating differences, and through that, the company has decided that actually Langham Place is very distinct from Langham. So a view was taken that we would create two brands. So we had Langham, which is our, you know, what we refer to as traditional, elegant haven, very kind of old world hospitality, and we have Langham Place, which is kind of the cheeky sibling, which is a very contemporary look, very contemporary feel, even the way we dress. You know, hotels in Hong Kong are actually quite conservative, and hoteliers in Hong Kong are quite conservative. Yes. So we've really been seen as a breath of fresh air, the way we look, the way we talk, and we've moved away from some of the. To give you some examples, we've moved away from perhaps the more servile approach of service in Hong Kong hotels, this very kowtowy, bowing kind of approach. Well, we call our service style here one of engagement, where we want our colleagues to actually get to know our guests on a one-to-one basis and engage them, not just be servile. And really, it's been very powerful for us. And if you go to TripAdvisor.com, which is the world's most used travel review site, one that I use myself whenever I travel, Langham Place is voted #1 in Hong Kong, and has for the last 3 years by hundreds and hundreds of reviewers. And if you read those comments, one of the things they talk about is the location in Mongkok, and how it is a great location close to the markets. But really what they talk about is that we have a young staff who really are engaging, and they feel that our people really are doing it out of genuine hospitality, and with a little bit of an attitude of being equal, and I guess relate to that.
Great. Okay. I guess it's probably no surprise to some of the people viewing this or listening to this interview that we worked together on the project.
Absolutely.
You were hotel manager at that time. And I recall quite vividly a moment that I don't remember if I've shared with you before, but let me share it with you now as a moment, one of those sort of moments in history that sticks in your mind. I remember working over at the pre-opening office with Brett Butcher, who was the General Manger at that time, and he's now moved on to a senior position within the company. And I think it was one evening we were over there in the pre-opening office, or sort of, yeah, he came to me and he said, you know what, Terence, I've just got off the phone with, I think, a guy who's going to be my number 2, a guy called Jeffrey, and here you are several years later, and it's worked out, so that's great. I remember that quite fondly. So I was working at the time, you were the hotel manager, I was the IT consultant, and I think we did a good job, both of us, that is, the whole team. I think we did a good job at opening the hotel. But do you feel in hindsight there were some things that we shouldn't have done, or that we could have done better, or how do you feel about that? Because, you know, let's be honest, I think we can use this almost like a case study as an example of opening a hotel. And I think globally, you're probably the longest open high-tech hotel, should we say now, I mean, good 4 years trading history, having set certain standards at that time and benchmarks. How do you feel things were or are, having been here now for that time?
Yeah, Terence, it's a good question, and you know, one of those life-changing episodes in your life is opening hotels, and I've just done 2 of them back to back. But certainly, opening Langham Place was an amazing challenge. But I think, you know, if you look at it now as a business, it's been very, very successful. However, it's been a lot of hard work. I think, you know, we realised that one of the unique selling points that we needed to have when we opened this hotel, because of our location, was a focus on technology. And we were the first hotel in Asia, if not the world, to be 100% fully Wi-Fi. So that's whether you're at the swimming pool or in the elevator or in any of the food and beverage outlets or in your guest room, you can go online. And we put a cabling system in here that allows us to do voice or data, very high speed, you know, anywhere in the hotel. I guess with any kind of technology, when you deploy it, and you are often deploying it to guests who perhaps are not as tech-friendly or knowledgeable as perhaps some of the people working in the hotel have been exposed to it. One of the challenges is making that technology accessible for people, and I think we found that with our IP phones. If you know how to use one, they're absolutely fantastic devices. But some people feel a little bit intimidated by that, so we've had to come up with some creative ways to actually make this technology accessible. We cut about a 5-minute cartoon DVD, which actually features one of our smart angels, one of the young ladies in the lobby, and actually walking the guests through all of the technology that's actually in the room, telling them how to use the IP phone, all of the features of it to make it really user-friendly, explaining to them just how to use the air conditioning controls, because it's touch-tronic screen. But a lot of people, maybe older people, aren't used to touch screens, so they don't know you have to touch it to activate it. I think that's probably one of the more interesting parts of it that I learned, and it's been a journey for us. And I think also, you know, when you're deploying technology like these IP phones, a lot of the functions that we wanted to customize for the hospitality industry, we actually had to drive that. So yes, we had to work with you know, system providers and software companies to actually develop software to run on those phones, because nobody had done that before, and that's been very, very exciting. But you know, it's a challenge, and it's expensive. It's expensive when you are the leader in that as well. If you're doing the development.
Yes, it's a journey.
It is a journey.
It is a journey, and getting into technology is a journey, and it really has no end.
Absolutely.
And hopefully it doesn't have an end, because you know it's an exciting area, and I suppose you can take advantage of those kind of platforms because you can continuously enhance it.
Well, I think with the year that I spent with you in pre-opening, I think what you were able to do was ignite this passion for technology in me, and we've been able to bring that into the hotel. And really, as the hotel goes forward, we are still looking for new technology and new unique selling points based on technology to deploy into our hotel. And so next month there is an IT conference on Macau, and I'm sending a number of my key people along to attend that, because really we want to keep at the forefront of hospitality technology, and it's important for us from a sustainability point of view.
Great. So when we opened, and obviously for the first few weeks or first few months, a lot of people came through the hotel. A lot of people were asking a lot of things about the hotel before it opened, trying to let us unravel those secrets that we kept as closely guarded. And when people came through, and hoteliers, I guess, and the travel trade, and all those kind of people, journalists, what sort of feedback did you get from them at that time?
I think the most overriding kind of feedback we got was one of surprise, because there has never been a five-star hotel in this area. So within the local business community and the wider community of Hong Kong, I think people were probably a little bit sceptical about what would the standard of the hotel actually be. As soon as they saw it physically from outside, it's obviously a very imposing, very stylish building, and it's very, very contemporary both outside and inside. And I think once people actually walked into the hotel, there was the sense that, wow, this really is five-star. It's very contemporary. We were the first new five-star hotel to open in calendar 10 years, so it wasn't hard to stand out, to be perfectly honest. But then once people actually started to use the facilities and our food and beverage outlets and stay in our rooms, the feedback was, first of all, wow, there really is quality here. Two, there's technology here that we've never seen deployed, and not only in Hong Kong, but really throughout the world. We were a leader. I mean, we were the first hotel in the world to deploy the Cisco Colour IP touchscreen phone. No one had ever seen that before. And so people were certainly very, very impressed. And I guess from that, word of mouth spread. Our competitors certainly came running to have a look, and realised that we really had, I guess, certainly got from a technology point of view, a jump on them. And from that, we've really gone from strength to strength. Obviously, being part of a multi-use complex, we have the hotel, which is a 666-room hotel. It's a large property. It's actually connected to the Langham Place shopping centre, which is 300 shops and restaurants, and really probably the most unique and modern shopping centre in Hong Kong. And the office tower that we're sitting in at the moment, 60 floors, currently is the tallest building in Kowloon. And so being part of this multi-use complex certainly has also served the hotel very, very well. I think we were able to get a lot of traction very, very quickly being part of it.
And in fact, sitting here in this room, in the office tower, you used to be based over in the hotel. When the hotel first opened, you used to have your office upstairs, and just take the bubble lift up there, and there you were. And now you've moved out and made space for a restaurant. What actually made that transition take place?
In the hotel when we opened it, we had 3 food and beverage outlets, which by Hong Kong standards is actually quite small. We have extensive banqueting facilities, but we had only 3 food and beverage outlets. And I guess because of the location, the fact that we are unique, and the fact that the whole complex sits on top of the Hong Kong MTR, which is the underground system, it's very, very easy for people to come to Mongkok into this hotel. So our food and beverage outlets, really from the day we opened them, were extremely busy and have become very, very profitable. And really, as as a business, you're always looking for opportunities to further drive your business. And really, we identified that the profit we were turning in food and beverage, per square foot of floor space, we could actually rent space in the office tower, convert our old offices over to food and beverage, and make significantly more profit out of running it as a restaurant. And we went through the whole process of return on investment, and the numbers stacked up. We did it, and the restaurant now has been trading for 8 months and is doing extremely well. And it's been really, once again, I guess we're trying to be innovative. Maybe a lot of other hotels would not have thought to convert an office space into a restaurant, but we saw the opportunity, and I have to thank Dr. Lowe, who's our owner, for his continued confidence to put the money up for that project. And he could see that it was a worthwhile venture.
Great. We're going to take a break for a few moments and show the viewers some still photos that we've taken at the hotel so they can enjoy some of those other shots. So we'll be back in a few moments.
Sounds good.
Okay, welcome back. I know that the hotel picked up several awards. In fact, one time, I'm not sure if it's still there, you used to have a trophy case just off of the lobby, and every time I walked past it, there was more inside, more and more and more, and I'm not sure actually if it's still there. It's still there.
It's bursting at the
seams. It's bursting at the seams. It's time to make a bigger one. Well, great. And some of those awards were picked up specifically because of technology, or because technology played a part of you winning those awards. Maybe you can just tell us for a few moments a little bit about that, and,
sure.
Why you entered them and how you actually received them.
I guess whenever you enter any kind of awards, really you're looking for some recognition, and I guess that's what we were looking for, and it gives you some credibility. However, we won 2 awards which are directly related to technology. The first one we won was the Best Practice Deployment of Technology Award in 2005, where we had to put together quite a significant presentation on the technology and the way we deployed it throughout the hotel, and what is the return on investment there, what impact has it had on our guests, on our profitability, on our colleagues. And we were fortunate in the first year that we actually entered that award. We actually won the Deployment of Technology Award. So that particular award is there's about 8 categories, as I recall. Deployment technology was one of them, and really all of the blue ribbon companies of Hong Kong enter that. It's very prestigious. So they really gave us some great traction and a lot of credibility. And then in 2006, we won the Hong Kong Management Association Training Award, and we won that actually for our GST program, which is our Guest Service Technician, which is, I guess, is based on the IT butler concept. And one of the interesting things about that particular program is that the person that actually did the presentation was one of our bellmen, Eddie Ho. And an interesting story about Eddie, he started with us, he's part of the original opening team, still with us, and Eddie didn't really do so well at school, and didn't really enjoy learning in classroom environments. Eddie joined us as a bellman and did a great job, and had an interest in IT. So when we created the GST, or Guest Service Technician role, he actually applied. This is a voluntary role, you get paid for it, and we had to test him, put him through an extensive interviewing process, and we came up with about, I think, a dozen GSTs when we first opened, and we put them through rigorous training. Our IT manager and external people, I think yourself was even involved in that, where we trained with these people who were to be on call during their shift. So if any guests had any IT-related issues, these people would actually, our colleagues would go up to the room and help overcome their problems. And Eddie became a very successful GST, so we actually used him to do the presentation. And normally, once again, these kind of competitions, there are blue ribbon companies in Hong Kong, and he was up against managing directors, general managers, directors of training, very high-powered people used to doing professional presentations in front of large and very distinguished groups of people. We had a young bellman, and English is his second language, and I think the great thing for us is that when we won the award and we got the recognition for the program, Eddie won Best Presenter.
Oh, right.
And I guess, what we take out of that is that this particular program has been kind of life-changing for him. And since then, Eddie's had 2 promotions within the hotel, and really is somebody that we hold up and say, well, this is what we can do for people's careers, and it's been life-changing.
Excellent, excellent. So, talking a little bit more about the history of the technology in the hotel, how has the technology evolved since when you opened? You said that you created some video and done some programming on the phone, so make it a little bit more user-friendly, I guess. What else has happened in the hotel since then?
Well, I think the evolution of iPods, and so you have an iPod here in front of you, really, I think we're seeing more and more businessmen traveling with them. I travel with one myself, and so we've deployed throughout the hotel these iPod players. So every room has one next to your bed, so you can play your own music. You can even set your alarm clock to be woken by your own music. And these are the kind of things that travellers now are asking. Really, they just expect it now. They're not even asking, but they just expect it to be there. When we first opened, we were running a fairly basic form of software on our IP phones, and one of my colleagues, Ken, was given the project of working with some of our partners to create a graphic interface on the touch screen, multi-language, and so the functions that we wanted to deploy, things like web radio, for instance, the kind of features that we can have on this phone. We can do stock quotes direct from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. You can put your flight details into the phone, and it gets a live feed from the Hong Kong airport as to whether your flight's still on time. So we had to actually work and actually develop this graphic interface. I think one of the things that we were very excited about is that we then took that one step further, and we have allowed our customers to customise their phone, which has never been done before. We're all talking about personalising the guest experience, but no one had ever done it on a phone. And what we're able to do now, our regular corporate guests, we're able to send them a web-based link with some information on their profile, and they're able to put have some speed dial numbers, stocks, their flight details, photographs of the wife, family, the pet dog, whatever, and that is then embedded into our property management system, and when the guest actually checks into the hotel, that personalised information is updated into the phone. So the phone is completely customised for the needs. So instead of having room service on the push buttons, it would just say home. You push that, you ring directly home to wherever where your family are, and can be connected. That's never been done before. The photographs that you put onto your site actually personalised on the colour screen of the phone, and I think that was a very exciting and well used project.
So the platform gives you the versatility and the flexibility to do that.
Correct.
So even though you would have bought hardware 4 or 5 years ago, you can constantly evolve it with these new ideas and innovations that come along, which is great.
I think the important thing is we put the structure in place up front.
Yes.
So we future-proofed it as much as we could, and so years down the road we're able to, as new technology comes, we're actually able to deploy it, whereas a lot of our competitors, because they didn't future-proof, maybe stuck with very old cabling systems that will cost them a lot of money to replace it, and therefore they just are unable to keep up with it.
So it's important to have that vision and follow through, and of course have the support from the owner's side to buy into it. I think I remember during the finalisation phase of what we were going to put into the hotel, we actually presented a couple of options to Dr. Lowe. One was to have colour phones on the club floor rooms, and was to have black and white phones, same type of phone but black and white in the rest of the hotel. And he says, no, I want to have colour in every one of my rooms. I don't want to discriminate my guests.
That's exactly right.
And I think that's been a very good strategy to have. And it's paid off because you now have all that. What you do for one, you can do for all,
that's exactly
and everybody can take advantage of it. So that's
correct.
That's a very good strategy. Great. So I guess going on from that, we're talking about owners, and owners, of course, play a huge part when it comes to technology. Not all owners understand, and because they don't understand or they don't buy into the technology, they naturally resist doing that. And of course, we're continuously going through an education phase for owners about it. Well, I suppose, you know, certain parts of CapEx they will fund when it comes to chandeliers and beautiful carpets and things people can see from the outside, a wow factor when you first walk in. And there's a certain logic for doing that, of course. Interior decoration is very important. But technology, very often it's hidden. Cabling, you don't want to see cabling. But it's a critical part, and of course, in this business and in any other hotel, every dollar and cent generated goes over the cabling system and the network. So, how do you convince? How do you work with owners to get them to spend money on this technology?
I think within Langham Place we're very fortunate that we own this hotel and we manage it, so it's not a separate management company. And I think one of the things that really helped us was the fact that we were building a brand, and we identified that technology was one of the pillars. We wanted to be known for innovation, and one of the best ways to really demonstrate that is through technology. And our owning company got right behind that. And now, as the Langham Place brand has continued to grow, technology and innovation is one of the keystones for every one of those developments. And I guess, as you said before, it's about vision.
Yes.
And it's not only about having vision, though, it's about delivering on that vision and seeing the value in it. And I think in Langham Place we've proven that that investment was very wise, because it's really helped us take the brand to the market, and it's given us a unique selling point. At the same time, the expectations of customers now have changed so much over the last 5 to 10 years. People really, when they travel now, especially if they're on business, really expect the same degree of connectivity that they have when they are in their office, and why shouldn't they? So really, the onus now is on the industry to deliver that, and I guess we've been able to do that ever since we opened the hotel. And so, once again, our customers have appreciated that, but also through the deployment of technology, our colleagues have benefited as well. So, every one of our housekeeping and attendants has a wireless mobile phone. So when we need to allocate work, we have a centralised system where, say, we have to collect a guest's laundry. Well, the guest can actually key in the job through the IP phone, and a message is sent to the room attendant looking after that room, and with a quality management system built around it, so that we have to collect that laundry within X number of minutes or the job escalates. So really that whole idea of technology, if you take it to the next level, means one, you can exceed your customers' expectation, but also the associates, because now the colleagues are delivering a much higher level of services. They're feeling a lot better about it, they're more efficient, and they feel that they're contributing to the success of the hotel, and technology has been one of the avenues that we've been able to do that.
Excellent. How do you feel about the reliability of the technology? Has there been instances where it's gone down? It's a machine after all, they are machines, and of course machines break down. Human beings break down, so why shouldn't machines break down? But how do you feel generally about the reliability of the technology that's been in the hotel?
I think of all the systems we put in here, and if I was to take you to the computer room of this hotel, you'd probably be quite stunned with a number of different software packages that we're running. And really the reliability hasn't been an issue. Yes, we've had one-off incidents, and you get them anyway, but really we have had very, very little downtime at all. And you know, we've keyed with professional, large providers. We've worked with people like yourself to make sure that really we've put the best quality products in that we could. And I think that that decision has now been, once again, well repaid to us by the fact that we really have very, very little, if any, downtime. And that means that it's not impacting on our colleagues or our guests.
So it's actually enhanced the service.
Absolutely.
Great.
And I guess that was one of the interesting things that some people sometimes turn around and they say to you, well, are you focused on technology and not hospitality? And I've had people ask me this question many, many times. And our approach is really simple, that actually our technology helps us to raise the standard of hospitality.
Good. And on that note, we'll take another little break for a few moments and let the viewers see a couple more pictures of the hotel.
Thanks.
Okay, so welcome back. Let's talk a little bit about marketing and guest mix, those kind of areas. Tell us about the guest mix. How's it made up, and do you feel it's changed over the years? And has technology had anything to do with that, whether it's through web booking or facilities within the hotel? And do you get comments from the guests about the technology, and are you reactive to those?
Oh, a lot of questions there.
Oh, that's one big question.
I guess you know, start off with perhaps the mix at the hotel. And in our industry, there's certain market segments, as we refer to them, that you can turn on and off quicker than others. So I guess over the last 4 years, our market sales mix has changed quite significantly. When we first opened the hotel, our initial focus was really on the leisure market, especially the short-haul markets, and some local corporate accounts. And really now, 4 years later, our mix is a nice balance between corporate and leisure. We're very, very strong in the long-haul markets. So our number one geographic feed market, for instance, is the United States. And then following that up is the UK and Europe. Southeast Asia, Singapore is a particularly important market for us, especially as far as corporate accounts go. Regionally, it's one of the corporate powerhouses. And also the Pacific region is very, very strong for us. About 3 years ago, we contracted a couple of pieces of aircrew business into the hotel. We felt that being a large hotel and being very, very new, we needed that as a base business. And both those crews have recently finished up with us, and we've been able to replace all of that business with what we refer to as MICE, or meetings, incentives, conference and events, which are kind of corporate groups, regionally and long haul, by significantly increasing our corporate base, and also, once again, continuing to work the leisure markets. Interestingly enough, what we refer to as retail, which is people booking direct to the hotel or booking through third-party vendors, will this year account for almost 50% of our room revenue, which is very, very high. But it's a very good mix because it tends to be the higher rated mix. And about just under 20% of our room revenue is actually generated electronically, and that is either people booking via our own branded website, which is our number one deliverer of those, using third parties, the likes of Whatif.com and Expedia, or booking via the GDS system. So, and we'll look to further grow that year on year.
Now, your marketing, you actually use technology as part of your marketing slogans. And I really love one of the ads, and I specifically got to keep a copy of that. Let me just make sure that I get the byline right. It says, "Smell the technology." Some people say, "Smell the coffee." You say, "Smell the technology." And another one I noticed just recently, I think it was on the bottom of one of the emails I received from you or something else, it says, "Connect me." And that's great to use that as part of your marketing efforts. Tell us a little bit about that.
We, as the Langham Place brand has developed, really our corporate identity underwent quite a significant change. And part of that was also the launching of a new marketing campaign, very much brand-based. So this is not tactical at all, it is purely brand-based. And really, it's about defining the signatures and the feel of Langham Place, and one of them is technology. And the Connect Me package that you're talking about is one that is available either by contacting the hotel director or going to our own branded website. And you can book the Connect Me package, which includes one-night accommodation. It includes internet access for a 24-hour period, and also breakfast. And it's very well priced. And really what we're encouraging people to do is to book online, because really for the customer it's the easiest experience. You get an instant confirmation, and it's very, very convenient. And we're finding more and more of our guests now are booking direct via our branded website.
And of course they customise the technology in the room as well, so it's really an all-round benefit.
Correct. And the days of, if you wanted to include breakfast or a limousine transfer, you couldn't do that on the site. Well, they're well gone now. So basically you can completely customise your own package, and people are doing that now because really the technology is there and it is so user-friendly.
And your website is very tech-friendly, because I noticed that you have a couple of specific things on there. And one, you have a button that says Skype me, and that's great, so people don't have to be concerned about long-distance calls. They can get on there, or even I think people just use it locally.
Correct. I mean, we all use Skype here when we're talking to colleagues at our other hotels. But yes, you can actually go to our website. You have your headphones and your microphone with you. If you just click on the Skype button, you'll actually be connected direct to the hotel. So it's even better than an 800 number.
Yes, it is. It doesn't cost anybody.
It doesn't cost anybody.
That's a good deal there. That's a good deal there. And of course, you have another button on your website, which is your blog. And I remember you kicked that off quite some time ago. And there's been some interesting comments on there and articles, and I think there was even a Christmas cake recipe or something like that on there at one time. Tell us how that works out for you.
Really, I guess our brand is about really, I guess, challenging the norms of the hotel industry. And what we wanted to do with the blog was to kind of have an open forum where people could tell us what they thought, and at the same time to share with our customers some of the interests that we have in common, the likes of technology, Mongkok, and one of our other great passions is art. And in fact, we have over 1,700 pieces of artwork in the hotel, all from either Hong Kong or Chinese artists. 2005, Time magazine actually voted us the best art gallery masquerading as a hotel, and it was on the front page of Time magazine. We were very proud to get that. So, yeah.
That's great. Now, we were talking about the Connect Me package a few moments ago, where people get free internet access. And on a global basis, there's a lot of discussion about internet access, whether it should be on the free model or the fee model. Free or fee, or whatever, it's a bit of a tongue twister there. And you're obviously going to bundle it now for this summer period, I think it is, for the kind of thing. But how do you feel about charging for internet access? And I remember in the early days of the project, we were monitoring on a regular basis. But I think it was even appearing on your night report, if I remember that correctly, how many people actually access the internet as a line item. So how has that worked out for you, and how do you feel about this payment model?
Look, I guess it's the million-dollar question. In Hong Kong, it is still the standard practice to charge for internet access, and with maybe just one or two exceptions. And I guess in the end, nothing's free. Even if it's not an extra cost to your room rate, somehow it's probably built into your room rate. That's only normal. At Langham Place, we do still charge, and I guess our decision to do that was really from a financial point of view. It is a significant revenue driver for the hotel. What we have endeavoured to do is to provide the best connectivity that we can, whether it be wired or wireless, so that yes, you do pay for it, but you're really getting the fastest, the clearest, the most reliable that you can get anywhere, and that's kind of been our service pledge. There are some markets internationally now that it is the norm to provide it free of charge. I believe in the United States that's very much the norm, and some other kind of key cities, key countries. The short term, we don't have any plans to do that, but I can see a time going forward where it's like tea and coffee making facilities. It's just going to be included, and I think it's probably not going to be that far away.
I should say nothing is free.
Nothing is free because there are costs.
Yes, of course
There's extensive upfront costs from a cabling point of view, on the routers and everything.
Yes.
And there are ongoing costs because you need to have a service provider.
That's right. Yes. Fortunately, Hong Kong is one of the lower price countries compared to, say, somewhere like China, where it's very, very expensive because there's a monopoly and these kind of things.
But I guess also in response to that, I think in Hong Kong you'll find that the charges are significantly lower as well.
That's true.
I have stayed in hotels in London and paid £30 for 24 hours connection, which it's
steep.
It's steep.
We'll leave it at that word. All right, let's just move a little bit on to the managing of the technology. And obviously, you're at a level, and I know you over the years you've become much more tech savvy and got into it. But you have a team of people here. You have an IT team. And some of those have come and gone during the years, and they've moved on. They've been promoted, and they've got other positions within the company, or they've stepped into other positions out within the community. Managing it on a day-to-day basis, and you mentioned, of course, a lot of software, a lot of systems in the hotel. And you mentioned also about your GST program. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that. How do you feel about the support and the management of the technology?
Well, as I was saying before, we have very little downtime, so and generally the systems run very, very efficiently. We have a team in this hotel of just two, actually. When we opened the hotel, we had a slightly larger team, but with the systems being very, very stable, we've been able to run effectively on two full-time IT. And we kind of support them very much with our GSTs, our guest service technicians. So whenever there are any guest-related problems, then one of the GSTs will visit the guest in the room and help them with their issue. We record every call that we get. We record what was the problem, how long did it take us to resolve it, did we resolve it, what did we have to do, and every month the IT manager and the GST team review that. They identify if there's some common issues and then try and eliminate that altogether. So that's another area of support. And the other thing we've really endeavoured to do is to train our colleagues so that if they have a problem with their PC, they don't have to just pick up the telephone and ring the IT department. Actually, we're giving them some skills so that they can do a number of tests themselves without having to bother IT every time. And that certainly goes a long way towards it as well.
Now these GSTs, I remember we had little green and gold badges. Do they still have those?
They do, yes they do.
Okay.
And they wear them with a lot of pride too. And obviously it's something that guests ask them about. And it's interesting to see, when the guest does ask them, they explain, well, I'm a guest service technician. I'm effectively, if you have any problems with your computer, I'm going to come and help you. And sometimes the guest turns around and says, well, you're a bellman. So, what we identified through this program is that, in any organisation, you have people with skills which they may not be using for their role. And what we found is that we had a large number of people that are really passionate about IT and actually really have some great skills and knowledge, but they may not be using it in their job. And most organisations would never recognise that.
Yeah. This
program has been able to allow those people to increase their skills and actually get some recognition in the hotel for it.
Yes.
And I think that's another very, very positive.
Yes, absolutely. Exactly.
And really, we are using that to grow future IT managers.
Yeah. In fact, you're not only helping the individual, you're helping the hotel and the industry.
Absolutely.
So it's a great program. And I remember joking one day and said that a guest could be sitting in the place, which is, I guess, your all-day dining room, have a problem connecting to the internet, and the chef would come out and fix it because he was the GST.
Absolutely.
And why not? Why not? Exactly. Why not? And I think that's part of the philosophy in the hotel. Why not? Not to help people do that. So, when you're recruiting people to join the hotel, you've had many open days and events to bring people in. Is there anything that you look for in those individuals that may be tech related, or?
Well, I must admit that as a general rule, we hire for attitude and not skills.
A positive attitude.
A positive attitude. We hire for the right. If the person has the right attitude, the can-do attitude, they are open and engaging, then we'll give them the technical skills. However, we're looking for additional skills as well. So the likes of IT really add benefit because we are a technology-focused hotel. It's very, very important that we're able to make all of this technology work for the customer. So it certainly is a selling point. So if somebody was advertising or was looking for a role in this hotel, if they had some technology experience, that would certainly go a long way.
Great. So I think we've covered a very wide range of subjects and topics here in this discussion. And of course, 4 years on, things have revolved. Mongkok has changed and continuously changes, as does the rest of the world. And there's going to be a new change of guard here at the hotel. So you have a new captain coming in to take over the helm.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be just a few weeks' time from now. So how do you feel that the hotel is going to go forwards? Or of course, that's a closely guarded secret. But how do you see things the next couple of years here in the hotel?
Well, I think the hotel has performed very, very well, and there is going to be some new competition in the market in Hong Kong. There's a number of new 5-star hotels coming into the market over the next 12 to 18 months. But we believe that the hotel is very well positioned to continue to grow market share and to achieve the financial goals. And I think one of the really key areas for, as far as sustainability is the growth of the Langham Place brand. And next year we will open a number of Langham Place hotels. We have 2 hotels in Beijing to open, one in Chaoyang, the business district of Beijing, and one at the capital airport. So they'll both open mid next year. We have our first Langham Place resort in Koh Lanta, and we've just announced another project in 2010 which will open in Phuket at Callan Beach. And when I get back to Auckland at the Langham, we're going to be working on a new Langham Place at Waiheke Island, about 20 minutes from downtown Auckland. It's a beautiful 70-room Tuscan-style resort right in the middle of the New Zealand's premier wine district, which is the Waiheke Islands. It's some of the most expensive and high-quality wines in the country made here. So the brand is expanding ever quickly, and really I think the further that the brand expands will really help business at Langham Place.
And of course, people can keep in touch with the news on the website.
Absolutely, they can.
And to continue reading your blog,
Absolutely.
which hopefully will continue when you go on to Auckland.
I think Auckland might need a blog.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jeffrey. It's been a pleasure.
Thank
I
you.
wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Terence.
Thank you.
Excellent.